Welcome to A Course in Miracles, where you'll discover health and well-being through inner peace. Your host is Eloisa Ramos, EFT master and author of Beyond Self-Esteem, Discovering Your Boundless Self-Worth. Using EFT, the Ramos Clearing Technique, and the principles of A Course in Miracles, you'll learn how to open your mind to healing and to all that is inherently yours: deep fulfillment, vitality, joy, and inner peace.
Hello, my name is Eloisa Ramos. Welcome to today's program, Miracles as True Perception. Of interest today is why A Course in Miracles says that miracles are normal and everyday, yet few of us can claim we have witnessed them. We tend to believe that miracles are rare and special. But what if miracles are commonplace? Why are we not aware of them? In Chapter 3, Section 2, A Course in Miracles tells us that there is a miracle-based frame of reference from which we can perceive miracles. However, it also says we can deny the power of the miracle. So, today we want to understand what this miracle-based frame of reference is and how we deny the power of the miracle and block our awareness to the miracle's reality. To begin, let's review a little bit. A Course in Miracles makes a distinction between knowledge, which is spiritual truth, and perception, which is based on the interpretation and judgment of sensory data coming from our five physical senses. Only knowledge is universal, certain, and therefore absolute truth. Perception is subject to interpretation and uncertainty because our physical senses are limited. Within perception, A Course in Miracles also distinguishes between true perception and false perception. True perception is called vision because it shows us reality as a clear reflection of spiritual truth, because it takes guidance from the loving thoughts of God, called the voice for God or Holy Spirit. False perception, on the other hand, is distorted and sees an illusion of reality that denies spiritual truth because it is directed by the ego thought system that is based on fear. In our previous program, we said that true perception is wisdom because it comes from a mind that recognizes its total innocence. In this state, the mind understands the truth of its whole and perfect nature as the Son of God. It also knows God because it recognizes that minds are not separate and that it shares the only mind there is, God's. Since the innocent mind knows itself as whole and perfect, its true perception can only see perfection and oneness. And this is reality. It never sees illusions which do not exist. That is why it does not see evil, and evil does not exist. Page 39 says, quote, "If nothing but the truth exists, right-minded seeing cannot see anything but perfection. I have said that only what God creates or what you create with the same will has any real existence. This then is all the innocent can see. They do not suffer from distorted perception." Unquote. When we are in our right mind, we see reality as perfection because it is a reflection of how we see our self, wholly innocent and loving, without guilt or malice. Remember also that total innocence is a concept that cannot be understood in terms of opposites or joint possibilities. These type of concepts, like light and darkness, everything and nothing, and truth and illusion, have reality only when they are total. If there is even a little bit of evil or guilt, innocence is no longer total, and so what is real is evil and guilt in our mind. These concepts are either all true or all false in our mind. They cannot both be a little bit true, nor both real possibilities. This is also the case for the belief in right-mindedness, which is guided by love, and not right-mindedness, which sees through the eyes of fear. Love and fear cannot exist as joint realities. If even a tiny bit of fear enters our mind, we will no longer be in our right mind. The right-minded see perfection in everything because their perception is not distorted by fear, and so perfection is what is real. The problem we have is that our thinking is erratic because we have not made a firm commitment to what we want to believe we are. Perfectly created in love and innocence, or separate and self-created in lack and fear. We tend to want to hold on to both beliefs, which are completely contradictory and incompatible, and therefore cannot be joint possibilities. Page 38 to 39 of A Course in Miracles says, quote, "When we lack confidence in what someone will do, you are attesting to your belief that he is not in his right mind. This is hardly a miracle-based frame of reference. It also has the disastrous effect of denying the power of the miracle." The miracle-based frame of reference is the total confidence in the belief that our mind is only loving and innocent. In this state, we see reality clearly as a reflection of divine perfection without distortion or illusion. This requires the healing of our split mind, so that we can be fully confident that our true nature is totally innocent and loving. Otherwise, the contradictory belief that we are guilty and evil will bring doubt about what someone will do, since we are not sure of their completely loving nature. When we distrust what someone will do, we believe that he's not in his right mind, and this is fearful. One little doubt about his total innocence and loving creation, and the feeling of fear arises. The possibility that their actions, can hurt us or inconvenience us in some way makes them guilty and even evil in our eyes. What happened to their innocence? It's as if it did not exist. We now see them and us as separate ego bodies that can hurt and attack and therefore be guilty. Let me illustrate this with an example. I was babysitting my 16-month grandson and started unloading the dishes from the dishwasher. Naturally, he wanted to be included and help. There were glass dishes in there, and I did not want him to take those out since he is at that stage where playing means throwing and dropping his toys on the floor. So, of course, the first dish he took out was made from glass. In the moment he was holding it and looking at me, I was not sure what he was going to do with it. The possibility that he would throw it and break it crossed my mind, and yes, that thought had fear associated with it. The kitchen floor is hard tile, and so that dish would shatter. Not only that, but he was barefoot. So, here, I believe my grandson is not in his right mind and could easily throw that plate and break it, and then step on the glass and hurt himself, his body, that is. I also believe he does not know what he's doing and could be made guilty inadvertently by breaking the dish if he threw it. In truth, however, my grandson is totally innocent. When I imagined him breaking the dish and cutting his foot, he had done no such thing. In the moment, he was just holding the dish. But in my imagination, he was already guilty for having thrown the dish, broken it, and then made me feel guilty because he stepped on the glass, and this would say that I failed to take care of him. All of this from just giving consideration to one possibility. In my fearful mind, this had already happened because I saw it played out in images. Never mind, they were just made up and not real. I misperceived my grandson and made him and myself guilty, but only in my imagination alone. He had not done anything in reality. The scenario I imagined is called a misperception, and it gets projected onto the world I consider to be outside my mind. In this case, my grandson. I am believing, in this case, that he's not in his right mind, because that is what I believe about myself. And so, quote, this is hardly a miracle-based frame of reference, unquote, because it is fear-based. What I am believing is that I lack confidence that I will not do destructive things and hurt others. Not because I really want to, but because I do not know what I am doing. It says that I have lost my right mind and with it, my reference point for reality. Yet, this is what happens when fear enters our mind. Our thinking gets polarity reversed. It is turned upside down, and truth and love are no longer real, since the fearful ego thought system becomes our frame of reference for reality now. Fear inverts what is true and not true, and so we give our belief to what is only imagination. In this way, I make my son, my grandson, and myself guilty before my eyes of something he never did. This is why we forgive our misperceptions. They never happened. Being fearful of our brother has the effect of denying the power of the miracle in our mind because our mind is no longer right-minded. Our awareness will not see the reality of the miracles all around us because it is being directed by fear, which is illusion. This is where techniques like EFT and the Ramos Clearing Technique can help us to bring our misperceptions to truth by releasing the emotions, judgments, and erroneous interpretations of our mind so we can perceive more clearly and heal our mind. Also, all spiritual paths that teach us the value of releasing fear and judgment through forgiveness are also training our mind to recognize the perfection of our creation and to be right-minded. Right-mindedness is the frame of reference for miracles. Page 39 says, quote, "The miracle perceives everything as it is. If nothing but the truth exists, right-minded seeing cannot see anything but perfection. I have said that only what God creates, or what you create with the same will, has any real existence. This, then, is all the innocent can see. They do not suffer from distorted perception." Unquote. God's will is totally loving and innocent, and only this. When we are afraid of God, we lack confidence in what He will do. We are misperceiving our Creator and therefore misperceiving our one self. This denies the power of the miracle. Since it is the miracle that corrects our misperceptions, in believing that God's will creates fearfully, without love, we also believe our unloving miscreations are real. And this is how we protect our misperceptions, which are errors in our thinking, keeping them in place to keep believing that we are separate and guilty ego bodies. As long as the belief that we are an ego body has value for us, separation and fear will take over or possess our consciousness because they become our frame of reference for what is real, and so we will be afraid of God's will. Page 39 says, quote, "You are afraid of God's will because you have used your own mind, which He created in the likeness of His own, to miscreate. The mind can miscreate only when it believes it is not free. An imprisoned mind is not free because it is possessed or held back by itself. It is therefore limited, and the will is not free to assert itself. To be one is to be of one mind or will. When the will of the sonship and the Father are one, their perfect accord is heaven." Unquote. When we misperceive God, others, and ourselves by seeing fearfully, we cannot help but feel unsafe. The answer the ego gives to this safety issue is to control or limit that which we have judged fearful. Let's go back to my example with my grandson to see this. I found it difficult to give this beautiful child my full confidence and release my fear that he could break that dish. So, my fear-based impulse resorted to control and limitation. I took away the glass dish from his hands and handed him a plastic one. We do this quite often with children. Our safety becomes associated with having control over them, precisely because we lack confidence in what they will do, in the goodness of their will. What we are really trying to do is control our own fearful imagination by controlling their will. We also do this with adults, ourselves, and try to do it with reality because we perceive reality to be separate from us and unloving. What is happening is that fundamentally, we lack confidence in our own free will. We are afraid it is evil, and that if left free without any limits, it will hurt and destroy, because we doubt its complete innocence and imagine it is evil. So, we try to limit our will and the will of others by making all kinds of rules, shoulds, shouldn'ts, supposed to's, have to's, need to's, to make the will conform to our wishes. All these limiting rules form what we refer to as the ego thought system, because they are all fear-based. We identify with the ego thought system for safety, and therefore we make fear our safety. We have misperceived ourselves, others, and God's will. Limitation is imprisonment of our will because our will was created free and unlimited by the will of God in God's likeness. We are afraid of our own unlimited nature because we are afraid of God. And so we hold on for safety to limitation, lack, separation, and the illusion of our ego and body identity. Though it brings pain, suffering, and death through our miscreations. In the case of my grandson, I allowed my fearful imagination to deny the power of the miracle. What if this 1-year-old was perfectly capable of handling glass dishes without dropping them? What if even at his young age he is unlimited and in his right mind? What if we are all that way, unlimited and perfectly innocent, having never been separate from our source? The miracle would have shown me all this to be true. Yes, I denied myself the power of the miracle to bring to my awareness the divine truth of what I am as I was created. And only because of the fear of a broken dish. The good news is the opportunities to experience miracles are quite normal and everyday. And because I learned that I denied everything for nothing in this experience, I wholeheartedly want to choose differently next time. And with this, we conclude our program for today on miracles as true perception. Join me next time. Blessings, everyone.
For more information about EFT, muscle testing, working with Eloisa, and to download a free version of the Ramos Clearing Technique, visit www.healingwitheft.com.